Shall we start? Are we waiting for Weber?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, alright. So let's start then. Okay, so I think we were very close to getting all the data ready for us.
Yeah, Rohan, I have some doubts on like creating a plant on that
Yeah, tell me.
plant and combined storage solution. Can you go that configuration part like overview? Like I have like I haven't recorded that recording that meeting on that time.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that we have to copy that EWM part on that plant or storage location type. So just explain me that part only.
Okay. Yeah, which one you are asking? The
Plant.
yeah, what you want to create basically.
The pathway, the path you are creating that estrogen plant for that
See, it's
assignment.
an enterprise structure
Okay.
definition, and you have two folders: a definition and assignment. Okay, and in definition you create them, and in assignment you assign them. So materials management, you will find the part for creating store locations, and in logistic general you will find the part for creating the uh, plant.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
and then you can, in the assignment you will find in and other folders all other assignments.
Okay then. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll start then. Um, so we have created this org elements. We have not yet created the warehouse in EWM. We'll be creating that when we start with EWM. Until then we don't need warehouse in EWM. Okay. So now we'll just quickly run through the settings on the um, setup side, system setup side, what all settings are required. As most of the settings will be basis related, and these settings you guys might have already done as part of some of the other RFC process in your companies, and just aim is to just run you through this settings so that we can ensure that when we are implementing, we can ensure that all the steps have been carried out. So just check mark for us whether it's done or not before we go ahead and test that. But as part of functional consultants, we have been responsible for this, so we should be in a position to check this entries. Okay. So these are all SAP recommended entries, recommended settings for the interface. So most of the places there are options which we may get various options to select or unselect, but we have gone with the approach of what SAP is recommending us to go ahead with, okay, for each of the relevant settings. Okay. So the first setting is we need to activate the log of any EWM integration. So in a business function needs to be activated first. So we have a business function which is for activating EWM relevant folder in the in the logistic execution area. So this business function needs to be activated. You need to basically what you have to do is list all these activities and give it to basis, and they have to make sure that these are done and confirm it back. So if you see in SPR, or by the time this business function transaction gets open, if you see the standard logistic execution will not have the folder and the relevant entries for EWM. So I think this business function will activate this for us. Then we'll just quickly see the business function. If it is taking time, we'll just go to the next point. Okay. So the next point is creating RFC user. Okay. So this RFC user, you can see in both ECC and EWM. Same settings I'll be just running through in EWM as well. So the RFC user is required to this is the user based on which your RFC calls will be generated. The password for this user will be saved. This will not be logged off automatically. Okay, so I think this is okay. Let us see what user we use in our queue. There are too many users here. So sorry, wrong queue. So you can see this is the queue and this is the user that is being used here. Okay. So since this is demo system, we a lot of times the details are changed. I hope this will remain same. Okay. So this is recent one here. So I think this is the user which is used in this system. Okay. So we can just have a look at the user and then the business function as well. So SAP recommends this user to be to be a dialog user. Okay. So dialog user because sometimes we'll be calling ECC transactions from EWM. So that's why this is a dialog user. We can also use a system user, but the transactions where we call the transactions where they are called from EWM, they won't be possible to carry out any transactions calling from EWM. So just check with your security team, they will create your user ID for you. Then you will see that this business function is already activated here. See, this is already activated, SAP Extended Warehouse Management Integration. Okay. Then let's go to the next setup setting. So the next setting is to create logical systems. Okay. Now, as we know that this is this EWM system communicates ECC and EWM communicate using RFC. So what we are going to do is we are going to create logical systems, okay, and then create RFCs for the destination, and then assign the RFC for the destination, and we'll say which logical system belongs to our own system. Okay, so own instance. So we'll create two logical systems, one for ECC, one for EWM. The EWM logical system will assign it to a RFC destination, okay, and the one which is in ECC we'll assign it to the client itself, okay. So that means that is used for this same ECC client. Then also one more thing, we will be doing these things in a reverse manner in EWM, where we'll again create logical systems and we'll create RFC destination and assign RFC destination to ECC in EWM, and we'll assign um, the RFC, the logical system of EWM system to its own client. Okay, so this settings we'll quickly go through. Again, until I reach a point where I tell you that this is to be done by us, all the settings are to be managed by pieces. So we come here. So here in this system, so in my screenshot, you will see another system which was there previously, but things keep on changing. We also have upgraded the system. So the current one I think is this one is for EWM. Okay, and then for ECC, I mean you can quickly identify which is the logical system you are going to use in the next set of settings. So this is for EWM, and for ECC it should be something like the start with T90 090. This is for ECC. So how we can confirm that? You can see assign logical system to client. So you can see this is the client into which we are working, 800. So this client, you can see it is assigned to logical system T90 client 090. So some of the settings would already be there, in a company which is not using EWM as well. Okay. Then we are going to create RFC destination. Okay. So RFC destination, this is going to be used to reach EWM. Okay. You guys must be well aware of these, since this is used a lot by web, for interfaces. So we can see this is the destination through which we are going to reach EWM, and you can see that it will have your user IDs and password. So this is going to reach EWM with this user ID and this password. Okay. So in this system, we have removed access for you to change because it causes some problem. If somebody is doing some scenarios, then it might spoil their data or spoil the interface. Okay. So we created logical system, assigned logical system to client. Okay. And then before I go to API release, we also set up RFC destination. Okay, and you can see the IP here in RFC destination as well. And this is the IP which it tries to reach. Or you can also use host name. Then in BD97 we will have to assign this RFC destination. So you can see this RFC destination will be assigned to a logical system in this transaction. So let me go into EWM here. RFC destination. This is the RFC destination. This is the logical system. Okay. So we have assigned RFC destination to this. So whenever call is generated to this, this in turn will look for logical system. This in turn will look for this RFC destination. Okay. Okay. So this is through some of the RFC setting. Then we have one config where we maintain the API release. So as I told you, this system was initially designed for APO, and then we have started using it for EWM. So we were working with APO, we need it to be, you know, assigned to some APO system, and which release of APO it will be working for. Okay, so we just have to maintain this entry. Does not relevant make most any relevance to our EWM related stuff. Then same way we'll have to maintain the ECC version in EWM, where we can do a lot of settings, but here it's limited, where we just have to mention the API release and its system type. Okay. So make sure we have API here and release the 701 for the system. The basis team can let you know which is the exact release you can mention here.
Yeah, hi, Ron.
Yeah.
What is the significance of releasing that APU? Like any significant why we are doing this APU?
See, why we using API? Because as I told you, if this system type you can see the description is, it's basically for the SCM system. So, as I told you previously, the SCM was based out of the EWM was based on the SCM box. SCM box was given a name APO because initially it was designed that only APO would work out of there. Then slowly different modules started building up in that system. So ultimately now we use HCM for EWM itself, and SAP uses for different instance of SCM for APO. But yeah, for this, since it uses the HCM system as a background, the APO system, that is why this system type still appears here. Okay, so we need to check, the latest versions. We might have a separate system type here, which with the name of EWM.
Okay.
let me go to the next setting, the queue type. So queue type is I here, okay, which means the queues. When you can also go through F1 and try to understand these things. So basically, your queue type is um, so when we work with, let's say, EWM, and we have queues going in from ECC to EWM, and we have queues coming from EWM into ECC. So the queues, when they go from ECC to EWM, let's say for example we are talking about ECC to EWM, so the queues while going, it will only check the connection is reached or not to EWM system. If it is reached, the message will go. But this is during the inbound, the system will check whether you know they will check the sanity of data, whether master data is there or not, or the transactions can be created or not. So this is basically which inbound or outbound queue where you want to carry out all your checks. And again, this is SAP recommended setting should be I internal inbound for standard EWM. So make sure we make it as I internal, sorry, I inbound. Then we have QRFC settings, some more of them. This is queue in scheduler, we call it. Okay, so basically you will see um, a, a QI star, EW star, DLW star. You will see these all the queues which start with DLW star. Okay, this setting will address all queues starting with QI star. So this is queue in scheduler, so anything which is coming in into the system. Okay, so the standard ones, the standard the same way we have queue out. So you can see these are the standard EWM relevant queue names which are given in by SAP in as out of box, which have already been designed. So these queue in scheduler and queue out scheduler. Okay, so this is anything which comes in with this queue name, so this settings will apply. Okay, so we just wanted to display this. So CF star is for sending all the master data. So that's the queue settings for the master data queue. Okay, I just wanted to double click this. So you can see 60 and 30 and 300. So what it means basically that whenever there are this is the maximum runtime. So this is the, I think, time used by system to reach in the other system before going out on runtime. Okay, then you have attempts and pause here. So attempt means system tries that many attempts to re that many attempts to re-trigger the queue with a pause of 300 seconds. So that means let's say a queue comes from EWM to ECC, and if the queue has failed because of some master data or some reference data being locked, so system will pause for whatever time you mentioned here. I think SAP recommends 30 seconds. Okay, so it will pause for 30 seconds. Sorry, it paused for 300 seconds. 300 seconds means around 5 minutes. It will pause for 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes it will again try to execute the same failed queue which is failed on due to locking. Okay, so this is the pause after each attempt, and here you can give how many attempts you want. So we we make EWM all the settings and all the configuration and all the transactions, but such minor things they come up when we start executing the system, and probably when a lot of data flows in day out, your users are different in ECC, different in EWM. You don't want somebody to go and manually re-trigger them. So this option has been provided by SAP. Okay. So you guys might be aware that there is this queue in scheduler, and on the similar side. So any queue that is created, has to be registered here. This is for automatically re-executing the queue. So once the queue is created, you register it based on this setting. It tries to so if it is registered, it tries to automatically activate it. So if the queue is not registered, if this queue is not registered, you will see the queue is failing with the name, failing with status ready. Okay, so now you can see them directly being executed because they are already registered. So you can see you're registered. So maybe when you don't want to register it, you deregister it, and when you want to again register it, then you can come here and register it. Or I mean, again, this has to be done by basis. Okay, so they know how to register or deregister the queues. Then I mean, it's their day-to-day activity. Then when we one more point here, let's say for example you want to investigate something, your queues have come from one system to another, but for your mapper to be able to debug the queue, you need to hold the queue so that it doesn't get processed in ECC or it doesn't get processed in EWM. So the queues, when they come for some investigation purpose, we have to hold them. So what we do is we deregister the queue, and the queue comes and gets does not get posted directly, it goes into ready status, and then we can do /s and activate the queue manually, and then we can start debugging. So this kind of setting is also used for in our sandbox system whenever we need to debug something in the queue. So otherwise the queues will directly get processed, but you want to identify certain behavior, why it is going to this particular type of delivery, why it is going to this particular type of, or any announcement we want to go and check. So same way we have this queue out scheduler. So same settings we are going to do in the ECC side as well. Okay. So for queue out, just fix for the runtime and connectivity. Okay. So again this would be the basis for us. Then registering display program. Okay, so there is another setting. So what all settings we have just seen, we are just going to quickly run through those in the EWM system as well. So you can see that these are a list of programs and given for the various queues. So these are created by SAP, just to this display program will help us to drill down and see the log. Okay, so if we just simply see the queues, okay, these queues may not be the error may not be self-sufficient for us to go and understand what's wrong. So we need a log of this. So you double click that, you get a detailed log. Okay, so as of now we are using SMQ2 and SMQ1 for queue processing, but this log comes from SLG1, which is also used for analyzing all the logs when it comes to EWM. So this element log from SLG1, it's automatically using that program. Okay, so you can see stepwise, how things were executed and where it went wrong. Here everything went wrong, but somewhere, some points will be right, somewhere, it will be green, somewhere it will be red. So you can see at what point, what step of the system things went wrong. Okay, I think things like activation of queues and then locking, unlocking, If you want to stop any queue from processing, you can stop it by locking it. All these things are possible. Okay, then let us go to next setting. This is for the setting for the user parameter. This is for the user based on which we are going to uh, do the queue processing. So you can see the star. Generally, you will have your RFC user ID here. Okay, and what is the RFC mode? It is QRFC, yeah, as we know, this is QRFC. So that has to be selected. Logging is B, so that means you want to have a detailed log. Okay, and then whether you want to allow debugging or not, because that queue gets failed in the name of the RFC user, and if you want to be able to debug it, using that particular ID, then you have to activate debugging here. Yes or no. I have said no, we can keep it yes as well. So what I've done is I've given you a table of SAP recommended settings, and I've given you the screenshot. Then let's come to the functional aspect now. So all pieces. So first thing, as part of functional, what we need to do, as I'm always telling that most of the work you'll get it in EWM will be implementation work. So when you are newly implementing a new system, you need to make sure that that is in sync with your ECC system. Okay, so let's say this is a transaction code. I'm just open you this transaction, and then we can quickly compare some of the tables in ECC and EWM. So when we are implementing a new instance, EWM for example with ECC as part of function, we need to make sure that these four tables, they are identical in both the system. If not, then we have to you know um, make certain settings to make them identical. Okay, so if you see this transaction, what it does, SCM, it compares the ECC system table entries. The table are same in both the system to EWM system table entries, and if there is any difference, it will highlight those things. So why we need to compare? We need to compare because let's say for example you are creating a purchase order in your company in Portuguese language, but that language, sorry, a delivery, your purchase order text, not a purchase order in English, let's say purchase order text, you maintain some text in your local language, let's say Portuguese, and the same text goes into delivery, and that delivery gets distributed to EWM. That's going to fail if your EWM does not have that language as part of its configuration. Okay, so these are these configurations generally they come with they come with this system when we when our release, when we or the version that we buy from SAP comes with those default entries. So there are high chances that EWM and ECC gets upgraded, EWM gets upgraded separately. So there are high chances that these two, you bring up EWM, there are high chances that these two tables may not be identical in both the systems. So what we need to make sure that, let's say, let us take a, oh, okay, I give you an example of language, is same way countries, currency code, unit of measures, all those things needs to be identical in both the systems. So let's say for example currency, if the currency euro, you create euro, but euro is not there in EWM, then whenever you're trying to move the currency details, some accounting details is going to fail. So let us see the comparison of one of the tables. Okay, then just one clue I would give you, if you're comparing this, there may be a lot of differences. Okay, so how to go about it, see these differences will, if the differences are in, if there are some entries which are missing in ECC but they are in EWM, okay, so EWM has more number of entries, then you can skip that, okay. You need to actually make sure ECC is your master table for these things, because currency, countries, you have to measure. Mostly you'll not be doing those things in EWM, okay. So if it gives you a lot of entries, differences entries, so just see which are there in ECC and missing in EWM. Okay, those are going to give you tough time after implementation. Let's say you create the purchase order for a country which is not there in EWM. Okay, then it's going to fail in EWM. Okay, so let us see the comparison. Just set and display differences only. So here you can see that we don't have any difference in 3002, which is the language keys are same. Let's see the currency. Yeah. So you can see this currency, there is some difference in both the system. So see AUD is okay, which is with ML and MR. These are the entries with configurations which are different. So in ECC it is saying that it is X, whereas in EWM it is saying it is blank. Okay, if you see the list settings, sorry, if you see the statistics, or I think somewhere it gives us what is ML, what is L. Okay, this one. So it shows that ML means differences in comparison client. So differences log on client. So ML means what is in the log on client, it is X. In MR, that means in the RFC client it is blank. So a configuration needs to be same in both the system. So what we assume is EWM is ECC is a master system for these entries. So we'll change EWM accordingly. So entries only exist in logon system. So entries which only existing in the in the comparison system, you need not to worry about it because EWM has additional entries. But entries which are only in logon system, uh, okay, these ones, you need to make sure they are created in EWM as well. Okay, so same transaction will be there for in EWM as well. So you need to make sure that those entries are created. Okay, so these are generally these configurations are generally done by FI team, specifically the country, the currency, the country and currency are mostly done by FI. So you need to get in touch with your FI colleagues. So mostly you have OSS notes given by SAP for the missing ones. So you can just copy those entries or apply the note on the configuration entries you copied. Okay, so same way with unit measure and language keys. I think worst case, if you want to do it in a faster manner without uh, going for notes or something, just go to that relevant table in both the system, copy what entry is there in ECC, paste it in EWM, and just go ahead, and that's also fine. Okay, then next functional setting we need to do is we need to what we need to do is I'll explain you first why we need to do it. Now if you display the material master, okay, so let me take any material. So we have Metal Master has different views. When it comes to EWM, SAP ECC has two new views now. This new master data has two new views now. The WM execution and the WM packaging view. Okay, so WM execution and WM packaging, these views are only used for EWM. So any entries you want to maintain here, which is to be used only for EWM, so these entries will get passed to EWM. Okay. So as you know, EWM was a model which SAP model which module which was implemented at a later stage. So these two views have to be activated at a later stage. So what SAP has developed is they created these new screens. Okay, so using BC set, these new screens will be created, and then in the next setting, so in a system where you are using it for the first time, what you have to do is go and activate this BC set. So SCPR 20 is the transaction for activating BC sets to base metal bond. So EWM we have to activate a lot of BC sets. We will see that in EWM, but yeah, just a few in ECC as well. So enhance material screen sequence, so it gives us those two views. They get added into list of sequence. Okay. Then depending on your company, next settings to activate this two views to your metal master may be done by your master data team, or if you have a master data team, or it can be done by a person, or you can also do it. But just check around in your company how things are managed. Okay, so this is already activated. I think might be shown somewhere. It should say it's already activated. Oh, activated. Could have check. Okay, maybe we can check whether it's active or not. Okay, activation log. So this is the deactivation we did today. It's already activated. Now I'm back to that. So this is already activated. Based on that only we are getting the views. Okay. So next setting is to these new views should be seen in your MM03 or MM01 transaction. So what we need to do is, there is a transaction in ECC, okay, where we go. It's a regular material master transaction where we go and assign screen numbers to the material master display transaction. Okay, so logistics general. Material master. Material master and configuring the material master. Assign sequence to assign all of main animation screen. Assign all of main animation screen. So what we have to do here is, you have to see I mean, that's what I'm saying, that this needs to be done by, your MM guys, or your, people who are from master data team, because what is your screen sequence which is being used in your company, okay, for which products you want to activate, which product has what screen sequence. So this the master data team knows, so they will let you know the exact sequence, or you can just let them know that these are the two views and please go and activate it. So here we can see the WM execution and WM packaging view we have to activate at the end. That is why, when we see in the drop down in MMO, so you can see them at the end. Okay, MMO 30. So every screen has a, screen number has been given a sequence. This is the sequence based on which they appear. So one behind the other. Okay, so you can see basic material assignment is 320, so that is the last one. So you can, when I assigned WM execution packaging, they were, you know, they were the last, and the last number was used was 290. I just added to 321. Okay, so they will appear here, but these numbers will be blank. So based on that, what you have to do is just give them number, then they will start appearing in your MMO1, O2, O3 transaction, material master transaction. Okay, so this view selection of ECC and EWM is important, but on the other hand, we'll only use this if we want some data of EWM master, some fields of EWM master data to be maintained in ECC. It's good to have, but it's not mandatory that you always use the execution packaging. But yeah, I mean, it's good to have, later on, let's say during implementation, you may not be needing exactly any views to be transferred from ECC, any data to be transferred, any EWM specific master data to be transferred from ECC to EWM, but in future, let's say for example, you are doing some change, or you realize that some master data team, they cannot maintain any EWM, and it's required to be maintained in ECC. Then in that case, it saves um, saves a lot of your energy. So it's better you keep this views activated, irrespective of you see the use or not. It's ideally recommended to keep these views activated. Okay. Okay. Then the next transaction is VL60P2. Okay, this is transaction where okay, let me open this transaction. So SAP has given us a transaction VL60. Okay, so VL60 transaction is mostly used for a specific process of vendor return. Okay, so if you recollect, during my last week Friday session, we created an inbound delivery and moved it to EWM, and then on the EWM side we were able to do the GR. But one thing worth noticing was, as soon as the delivery was created and distributed to EWM, we were not able to change anything in the delivery. Correct? So, if we, so SAP, what it has done is they gave us this VL60 transaction. Using this transaction, we can actually make some changes on the delivery side. Okay, let's say, a very typical process is, if we work with delivery, we create a delivery, but now we want to do a returns. Let's say, for example, we create a good receipt. Now we want to we received the product, but let's say for some quality issues or some damage issues, we want to send the material back to the vendor. Now we want to create a return delivery. Return delivery has to be created in ECC, and it has to be created with reference to this, you know, inbound delivery. So inbound delivery is not changeable. You cannot go and in the follow-on function say create return delivery. So SAP gave us a transaction VL60 where you can go and make some small modification in the inbound delivery or outbound delivery. I think it's only for inbound. Then we can also create return deliveries from there. Mostly, return delivery is the main functionality that we use from VL60. We also use VL60 for making some changes in some text or some other area. So this transaction, again, this is optional. You want to work with this or not. SAP also has given marked as an optional entry, optional setting. So basically, a user group, you want to give the authorization to a user group. Okay, so this is the user ID, this is my default group. Okay, and then you can give assign profiles and what all actions you can do in VL60. So since it is a demo system, I've added all the actions. So if you want to carry out clearing or creating deliveries, kind of posting transaction, document editing, or any specific. So just for authorized control of the transaction, SAP has given this particular transaction. Then the next settings we have already seen, assigning warehouse to plant and store location. I think we just did see that. Let me quickly verify. So we created plant, we created warehouse. Not sure we did the assignment. We'll quickly confirm that. So our plant and store location, I think yeah, we did that. We assigned it to a enterprise structure. Assignment, logistic execution. Yeah, we have assigned it to plant store location combination to warehouse. I think we have done that. Then assigning shipping point to plant, we have also done that. Okay, so we created shipping point and we assigned it to a plant. Okay, so let's do the next step of shipping point determination. I think so shipping point is, it's an org structure mostly from the logistic execution point of view. Any delivery that is created requires a shipping point. This is the point from where, your material gets, moved out of your factory, or it is planned at this point, that from here the material will go. Okay, so it's an org structure element mostly on the logistics and SD side. Okay. In the ECC system. So we created a shipping point, but we need to, make sure that our shipping point is assigned to, it's been determined. Okay. Again, shipping point is mostly from outbound perspective. We also have for inbound perspective, uh, what is going to be the shipping point. So I'll just say for inbound, let it be any store location. My shipping point should be, I think this ACSP has been coming from the SPET is the one which we're using here. From the copy we had done, yeah. So I'm just assigning to our shipping point. This is for inbound, yeah. This is assigned shipping point for good receiving point. So using shipping point for inbound and delete the other entries. I mean, the same setting you will see in the second part of this config. Just in that first. Then what I'm going to do is assign shipping point. This is the setting. So basically, what you will see a lot of determination, based on which the shipping point appears in delivery. This is standard config. Shipping condition from the customer master, loading group from the material master, and plant. Based on this combination, system determines the shipping point. Okay. So since we have copied our plant, it's going to give us a lot of shipping points from the original plan we copied. Now we want our shipping point to appear, so what I'm going to do is just going to replace the shipping point which were copied to our shipping point. So you can see there are so many varieties of shipping, so many shipping points. So I'm just going to replace this with our shipping point, that is so many type of determination. So I mean this is mostly done by the logistic execution or the SD people. So I mean we can also do it, but just make sure you are aware how it is done in your company. Yeah. Who is the responsible for this? Okay. So this is the two shipping points which can be used, okay, for your deliveries. So these are the list of allowed shipping points. Quickly, I'll just paste for some of the entries. If we still need doing execution, we will change it. Oh god, I did a mistake. Our shipping point is SP80. It's not 8,000 is planned. Sorry. Okay, I'll change this. Don't worry about it. I'll just change it and save it. Take some time. So this time, okay. I think we are just wanted to complete some more settings before we end for today. I think we'll stop here because next point is important. I just don't want to leave it halfway. And it will be completed in next 2 to 3 minutes. So I'll just maintain this entry and we'll save it. We'll start from here tomorrow. So I've completed from 1.16 till 1.16. Hope all of you have received the access to the system and access to the folder. You have all the documents now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. So do let me know if you have any queries or any questions on what we discussed today.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Or if you have any questions now, we can discuss.
One question, Ron, like you are assigning the same like shipping point to same plant to all that your shipping point name. So it is mandatory to assign that same shipping point to with same plant.
See, shipping point, it depends on your, company, how they are mapping shipping points. So what I'm doing, since this is a demonstration system, I'm just making sure for my plant 8,000, my shipping point has been assigned so that, when I create a delivery, okay, I just see this shipping point here. I use this shipping point for my delivery. So in a regular business, we'll have lot of different combination of shipping points. Here we'll see just one or two, but sometimes there is a big list. So let's say, for example, you're shipping products to a customer. Okay, so depending on loading group, let's say the product is handled in pallets. So we have a special, you know, people who are responsible for, shipping those kind of pallets. So they are assigned to that shipping point. Okay, and then they, do the packing and they do the, all the transportation things and they ship the product. Okay, so if it is a pallet, if it is a special pallet, then you have a special people assigned to the shipping point. So if we have a material which is handled as a liquid in drums, so we have a separate shipping point, separate place from where they get shipped for separate people who are kind of managing the shipment for those. So they get assigned to this shipping point. Then your shipping point can also change with storage conditions, like what is your customer's requirement of how to store the product, shipping conditions. Okay, shipping or storage condition. So this comes from a product master. So you can say that shipping condition. You can create a specific entry so that you can have a specific shipping point for a particular customer. Okay, so in your business, this can be a variety of combination. So since the companies might already be using ECC, or if they're newly implementing ECC, then this setting goes through SD. But since we are using the system as a prerequisite, we need to make sure that when we create deliveries, it is assigned to our shipping point. So this shipping point, we are going to use it in EWM. I'm going to create the shipping point in EWM also. So that's why I'm creating and maintaining here. So you may not be responsible for creating and maintaining ECC, but it has to be sent to EWM so that when your delivery comes with a shipping point, EWM should recognize that shipping point. So we are going to create shipping point as an org structure element in EWM also.
Okay. So
For that
same
purpose,
for same plant we don't have like a different shipping point. For same plant we have to maintain the same, right?
see, for our testing purpose, I am maintaining the same. We can have, I can have here, SPAT 1020, 1050, 1080, any shipping point we can use for any of
Oh,
this combination. It's not that for one plant you have to use this one shipping point. Okay?
okay.
Okay. Alright. Okay, then we'll end the session for today and we'll continue again tomorrow. Yeah? Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.